Hey everybody, welcome back. Review a Day. My name is Leland. Thank you so much for finding me. You guys look so good since the last time I've seen you. It looks like you lost a little weight. I mean, not that you were fat before, but you're looking svelte. So take it as the compliment. It was definitely meant as. If you're disappointed that I'm not doing enough reviews, you can always head over to nitpicket.com or dampercast.com. I'll throw some links below. It's the podcasts I do. I'm always keeping up with those. So please head over there and check out what I do. I thank you in advance. I'm not going to waste any more of your time though. I want to jump right into my review of 127 Hours. And this is the new film from Danny Boyle, the guy behind Trainspotting, 28 Days Later, and the Oscar-winning film Slumdog Millionaire, a movie I really did enjoy. And this new movie, 127 Hours, is based on the book Between a Rock and a Hard Place by Aron Ralston. He's the guy who got his arm caught under a rock, and after 127 hours, he broke it and he ended up sawing it off with a little tiny pocket knife. Every late-night talk show host in the world had a joke about it, and here we get James Franco playing Aron Ralston, kind of a go-getter who's out in the middle of nowhere, climbing through canyons. He falls and he gets his arm trapped under a giant rock, and he cannot move it. I was really looking forward to seeing this movie because it's such a high concept, and I always wonder how people are going to pull it off. And Danny Boyle is a director that I really admire, and I like him because you can't pigeonhole him. He's done 28 Days Later, which is a horror movie. He did Trainspotting. He made Slumdog Millionaire, which was kind of this classic love story set in India. And this movie is, I think, really something else. Like every Danny Boyle movie, I think it completely just explodes off of the screen, and his director of photography, or I don't know if he's the cinematographer, Anthony Dodd Mantle, who shot Antichrist and also did Slumdog Millionaire, they bring a visual flair to this movie that kind of reminded me of The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, which is, I think, a movie that has a lot in common with this. And you know, this is a movie about a guy who's cutting his own arm off, and he's really in one location for most of the time. And I think Danny Boyle and the DP bring a visual flair to it that I think really is probably needed and keeps this movie from becoming a depression fest, which this movie so easily could have at every second wallowed in misery and just been really unwatchable. And for a movie about a guy who's cutting off his arm, it's completely watchable. Just like every single one of Danny Boyle's films, it feels alive. The score by A.R. Rahman, which underscores a lot of the film, is really pretty terrific. And it brings a quality to this film that I really was not expecting. In this flick, James Franco, who plays Aron Ralston, is really pretty terrific. Probably one of the best performances I've seen all year long. And he's got a tiny little camera that is, I would compare it to Wilson in Castaway, which is, it's kind of it's how he gets to address kind of the audience, and you get to see him have his own talk show as he's trapped between this rock, and you see him kind of talking to his parents. And James Franco's performance absolutely from frame one pulls you in. He's not, I didn't really know what to expect, but this guy James Franco was playing, I believed every single second of it. I believed that this is the kind of guy who would go off into the middle of nowhere and not tell anyone. I believe that this is the type of guy who, in this circumstance, would fucking cut his arm off if he really had to. We see so many films where there is a literal journey. Lord of the Rings, they're fucking crossing these giant prairies, and there's an undercurrent of emotional subtext that it's not just a physical journey, it's emotional. This movie is almost all an emotional journey, and as the film progresses and he kind of becomes more and more dehydrated, it becomes a little bit of a odyssey of the mind. And I think when it comes down to it, when you're faced with life and death, really the things that are going to pop into your head and probably will matter to you are the people you've loved, the people you've left behind. If you're going into this film expecting a kind of horrifying film about survival in the wilderness and what it's going to take, that's not really what it is. Because, I mean, the climax of the film is obviously him cutting his arm off. But it's an emotional journey, and it's about how he got to the place in his life where he could go out and no one would even really know. And it's about him shedding his ego and realizing that maybe the way he's been living his life isn't the best. And I think that theme is kind of timeless. And then you add in just man versus nature, and I think it gets even more kind of classic, English 101. It's a really great film. I think Danny Boyle directs the shit out of it. I think James Franco acts the shit out of it. And I was really drawn into just about every single second of this movie. I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to give 127 Hours a 5 out of 5. I really highly recommend you check out this movie. Don't believe the hype. No one passed out in my theater. I didn't vomit all over myself. But it's a pretty wonderful film. Head over to nitpickit.com or dampercast.com, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.